Hey, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, then hi, my name is Erica, and today I am going to be talking about an Instagram post that I saw the influencer Megan King posted. If you don't know who Megan King is, I'm pretty sure she was either dating or married to or engaged to one of Joe Biden's nephews. Not that that's relevant at all to this, but just for context, in case you who know who she is, but you don't know that you know who. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm just gonna get to the point of this video. So, I didn't know this until I saw this post, but I guess Megan has a child with cerebral palsy, which, if you don't know, that is the disability that I have. Well, it's my main disability, and it is a neuromuscular disorder that is caused by brain damage at a young age. So yeah. So a lot of times it affects motor control. Sometimes it can affect intellect, but not always. It's about half of the time these statistics say that it impacts intellect, but it is mostly a neuromuscular disorder that really affects motor control, like speech, arms and leg movement, just like movement in general. So yeah. And so she made this post, and it bothered me. I'm gonna read it out loud first. Bear with me, because I do struggle. Like, my stutter gets worse for whatever reason when I'm reading out loud. But I'm gonna try my best, and I'm also gonna pop it up on the screen when I edit this video. So yeah, here it goes. Wish me luck. I don't like being defined as a mother of a child with cerebral palsy. In fact, I actively work against it. I seldom share with you the challenges child's name faces, and instead focus on how great he's doing, while trying to give equal focus to my other two children and myself. But the reality is that child's name's brain injury affects all of our lives daily. Although CP is defined as a motor disability, its symptoms rear their heads in a plethora of other ways. Today is the second day in a row that child's name has had to leave school for poor behavior. This not only renders me unable to work during that short school window, but it leaves me feeling frustrated and helpless for both of us. Is his environment too inconsistent? Is he not getting enough attention? How do I balance his needs with the other needs in the household? Is there such a thing as balance? Is there a solution? Is happiness achievable, or are we bound to a lifetime of roller coaster behaviors merry-go-round therapies and erratic emotions that eat into everyone's time and energy. The unknown is daunting. How do I keep him integrated in normal schooling when he acts violently or disruptive? How? Thank you for attending my depressing TED Talk. Okay, so as you may guess, we have a lot to unpack here. As an adult with cerebral palsy, if my mother had shared, or my father, or anyone in my family had shared something like this on social media when I was a young child, do you know how violated I would feel? How, like, my privacy would feel violated? Just because your son has cerebral palsy doesn't mean you get to air all of his dirty laundry out on the internet, Megan. And it also, what really got to me about that post is the sense that I got that while she never outright said it, but the whole post gave off this vibe that she views her son as a burden because of his disability. Now, I realized that having a disabled child can come with its own challenges, but that child is not a burden. People are not a burden for their basic human needs. And that's what the needs of disabled people are. Their basic human needs. Humans need food, water, shelter, love. They need freedom to be able to be who they are and to be able to express themselves in the way that they want to express themselves. They need to go to the bathroom, to wash. Like, come on, these are basic human needs that disabled people can sometimes require assistance for. That doesn't make disabled people burdens. And if you think that, then honestly go F yourself, because no, it's not the case, Megan. Even if you are feeling down in the dumps or whatever, for whatever reason, maybe that school environment isn't the right environment for him, because, cerebral palsy typically doesn't affect behavior, but it can. I'm not saying it never does, but it's not something that's typically a behavioral disorder, but it definitely can affect behavior. But if somebody is hashing out, maybe it's because the school isn't right for him for whatever reason, whether it be like the teacher doesn't understand disability, or if the other kids are making fun of him or excluding him, or if he somehow feels not welcome or like it's not the right fit. And I'm not saying this is necessarily the case, but it can be, and it's something to think about. And I'm not making this video to shame Megan, although it may come across the way I keep saying Megan, but it just bothers me as somebody who's disabled to see the next generation of disabled people being treated like this. Because I wanted my generation to be the last generation that had to deal with this ableist shit. But obviously, I had kind of idealistic thinking, because obviously that's not what's going on right now, because the next generation of disabled people are being subjected to as much ableism, if not more, than high generation. And that's just very frustrating. And it's very frustrating to see a big influencer like this using their platform, number one, to violate their child's privacy. And also, you see how she doesn't talk about her other children in that way. Like, I don't think an argument can be made that, well, it's not his disability that's making her talk about him in this way, because she doesn't really talk about her other children in this way, like sharing personal stories, at least not that I've seen, and I've been following her for a bit. The reason I started following her was, this is a tangent, but those sweepstakes on Instagram where like one influencer will post it and they'll be like, oh, you have to follow 10 of my friends, and then you're entered into the sweepstakes. So that's, and I forgot to unfollow her, but when I saw this post, then I remembered, unfollow her. You don't want to be consuming this on a regular basis, because it's harmful. Like, it hurt me when I saw that, and when I read her words, and how it sounded like, although I'm sure she loves her son, it sounded like she looked at him as a burden, and as someone who is like harming their family. Actually, one thing I wanted to say was the opening line of the post, which I'm going to bring it back up so that I don't make stuff up, is I don't like being defined as a mother of a child with cerebral palsy. In fact, I actively work against it. Megan, what exactly are you working against? Why is cerebral palsy such a negative thing to you? That is my question. And also, something I wanted to say is, if your child has a certain identity or disability or whatever it may be, you as a parent do not get to then co-opt that identity and be like, yeah, I have an autistic child, so I'm an autism mom. And the reason I used autism mom as an example is because they're infamous in the disabled community as people who tend to try to derail the progress we are making as self-advocates, because they say, well, what you're saying isn't true about my child, and you're high functioning, but my child is not, which is ableist BS. And I'm not even going to entertain that argument right now. Maybe I will another time. I'm not saying I'm never going to entertain that, but I don't have the mental capacity to do it at this moment. But Megan, it's not your identity to distance yourself from. You do not have cerebral palsy, her son does. And when he grows up, if he chooses to embrace that aspect of him as part of his identity, then let him do that. But you're already planting the seed in his head that disability is negative and he shouldn't want to be associated with it. And that was something that my generation had to deal with a lot. Like, when I was growing up, the big terms were, well, of course, the infamous person first language, which, in case you don't know what that is, it's person with a disability. I have a whole video on person first language versus identity first language, and I tend to use identity first language, and I went into that in the video. I'm not gonna go into it now because that would just make this video 100 years long. Not actually, but you know what I mean, hopefully. But my generation had to deal with labels like special needs, differently abled, handy-capable, oh God. Lots of, or disabled, where they would capitalize the abled part. And that was a way for non-disabled people to feel more comfortable with disability, to make it more palatable and cutesy to them. But the thing is disability is not inherently negative, and I know that there are going to be people watching this video who are going to be like, what are you talking about? This is liberal psychobabble or whatever. It's not. Disability is not inherently negative. The reason it's negative is because of the way society is set up to really accommodate certain types of bodies and certain types of brains and behaviors, but it does not have to be like that. If we embrace other people, and if we work to change our environment, to change our society, to change our mindset, then disability doesn't have to be a negative thing. Like, yeah, of course there are still going to be challenges when it comes to disability. I'm not going to deny that. But a lot of the big issues when it comes to disability is because of our mindset and because of environmental barriers that are created by other humans, by the way. Like, I don't know about you, but I've never come across a staircase in nature barring like hiking trails that by the way people made these steps going up, but I've never come across a staircase in the wild. Like, it's something we made that only accommodates certain bodies. And so that's my TED Talk for the day. If you learned something, or I guess if you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up. And if you have not already and you would like to see more of my content, please consider hitting that subscribe button down below. I'm getting pretty close to 3,000 subscribers, which is my goal for my birthday, which is May 22nd. So it would really help me out if you hit that subscribe button. And thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again next time. Bye.